So what if the afterlife wasn't just a matter of faith? What if you could actually prove it in a court of law? Well, today we're diving into a book by a lawyer, Victor Zammit, who tried to do just that. He claims to have cold hard evidence, and we're going to review his case. I mean, think about that for a second. It's a pretty powerful idea, right? Let's forget belief, forget religion, just for a moment. Just imagine you're sitting in the jury box, and a lawyer is about to present a full-blown case for the existence of an afterlife, asking you to weigh the evidence. That's the exact framework we're going to use today. So our objective here is to basically act as that jury. We're going to look at the evidence just as Victor Zammit, the lawyer and author, presented it, following his legal argument piece by piece, fascinating piece. So here's how this is all going to go down. Think of it as our order of proceedings. We'll kick things off with the opening statement. Then we'll hear from the eyewitnesses. After that, we'll call in the expert witnesses, check out the physical evidence, and finally, hear the closing argument on skepticism. All right, first up, the opening statement. This is where the author really sets the ground rules for his entire case. And this is absolutely crucial. Zammit makes it clear he isn't interested in fuzzy feelings or just, wishful thinking. He's trying to present objective, verifiable evidence, the kind of stuff that he believes could actually withstand a really tough cross-examination. This right here really gets to the heart of his position. He's not asking for your faith. He's basically handing over a folder of evidence and asking you, the viewer, to act like an impartial judge and just look at the facts as he lays them out. Okay, so let's move on to the very first category of evidence, direct human experience, or as a court would call it, eyewitness testimony. So first, he points to the thousands and thousands of near-death experiences, or NDEs. And what he says is so critical is their consistency. I mean, across different cultures, different beliefs, people report these stunningly similar events, having crystal-clear memories while they were clinically dead, meeting these beings of light, and having this transformative life review. Now, to really bolster his case, he presents some incredibly powerful anecdotes. And this one's a real showstopper. Take the case of Vicky Noratuck, a woman who was blind from birth. During her NDE, she claimed she could see, describing people and objects around her. For Zammit, this is a key piece of evidence, because how could she construct such a visual experience with no frame of reference? All right, next up, the case calls its expert witnesses. In this context, these are people who claim to be intermediaries or mediums who can channel information from a world we can't see. The author focuses on a very specific type here called trance mediumship. Now, the idea is that the medium's own consciousness basically steps aside, allowing another consciousness to speak and act directly through them. It's presented as one of the most direct forms of this kind of communication. And as his star example, the book brings up the incredible case of George Chapman. For decades, Chapman claimed to channel a Dr. William Lang, an eye specialist who had died way back in 1936. And get this, while Chapman was in a trance, Dr. Lang would supposedly perform healings and even operations on patients. And here is the star testimony for this particular witness. This quote is from Dr. Lang's own granddaughter, Susan Fairtloff. Now, she went to see the medium as a total skeptic, actually angry that someone was pretending to be her grandfather. But she left completely convinced, saying that the voice, the behavior, the mannerisms, it was unmistakably him. Okay, the case now shifts gears. We're moving away from personal testimony and into what the author calls hard physical evidence, phenomena that can actually be measured, photographed, and recorded. So Exhibit A in this section is something called the skull experiment. This was a 5-year-long investigation back in the 90s, where a group would sit together in a sealed cellar trying to produce physical phenomena. And the whole thing was observed by independent researchers, including scientists and academics. And the results they reported were just extraordinary. We're talking about objects or apports that materialized out of thin air, like a real, verifiable newspaper from 1944. Witnesses also talked about intelligent balls of light that moved with purpose. And maybe the most compelling part? Images that appeared on brand new, sealed rolls of film that had never even been put in a camera. Now, of course, you're probably thinking, okay, this has to be some kind of trick. Well, to counter that, the author presents this expert opinion, a professional magician, someone whose entire job is to understand deception, observed what was happening, and concluded it wasn't the result of any staged trickery he could figure out. Another type of physical evidence he presents is EVP. This is all about using audio recorders to capture what are claimed to be spirit voices, messages from the other side that get embedded in static or white noise, basically made tangible through technology.
All right, we've arrived at the closing argument. This is where the author turns his attention directly to the skeptical viewpoint and challenges it head-on.
So what he does here is he makes his final points by creating this sharp contrast. On one side, what he sees as the failures of skeptics, and on the other, the successes of researchers. He argues that skeptics often just refuse to look at the best evidence, while researchers, using modern tech, have been getting repeatable results for years. And in the end, the author delivers his personal verdict with the full weight of a lawyer's conviction. After all his years of investigation, he concludes that, for him, personally, the case is closed. The evidence is simply irrefutable. And now, the question is passed to you. You've seen the opening statement, you've heard the testimony, and you've looked at the physical exhibits. You've heard the closing argument. So, the case has been presented. What's your verdict?